Welcome back to Staples in downtown Los Angeles as this holiday weekend winds down. The crowd making its way in for Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Los Angeles Lakers with the winner of this series to advance to the NBA Finals to face the winner of Indiana-Detroit. And the T-Wolves are looking to extend to a 7th and deciding game back in the Twin Cities. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with the Czar, Mike Fratello. Doug Collins will be joined in a moment by Craig Sager and Cheryl Miller. And Doug, prior to Game 5, Phil Jackson was very upset with his team. He took a look in the locker room and he said, you know, these guys look to be giddy. He said, hey, where's the game face? And that's certainly the case tonight. He wants to see the game face on Shaquille O'Neal.
Well, they definitely need him. He's been the center of attention here with all the talk shows, all the media. After a very quiet Game 5, they need him to be dominant, to demand the basketball, to control the lane. In the 3 wins, the points, the field goal percentage, the rebounds, all up, very dominant. In the losses, very quiet. The points, you see the rebounding, but they want him tonight to establish the painted area. Phil Jackson was asked this morning, how does he normally respond to these situations? He said, with a defiance. I expect him to put his stamp of domination on this game tonight, Marv.
All right, Czar, as for the T-Wolves, once again, their starting point guard and all-star Sam Cassell will sit out because of the sore back and the sore hip. Once again, Michael Olowokandi will be the starting center. He is in the starting lineup for a 2nd straight game. And Flip Saunders the other night made several strategic moves in game number 5. What are you looking for here tonight?
Well, going into game number 5, Flip Saunders and his staff made some adjustments that they felt would keep him alive in this series. And I would expect tonight we could look for some very similar ingredients. First, he inserted Derek Martin and Michael Olowokandi into the starting lineup. Then he decided to leave Trenton Hassel on the floor more minutes to guard Kobe Bryant. And in the second half, double team him whenever possible, get the ball out of his hands. He went to the small lineup and let Hoiberg play 31 minutes, get 14 points. Zerbiak at 4 and KG at 5 caused matchup problems. And then get Shaquille O'Neal involved in more decisions with pick and rolls, make him come out and decide whether he wanted to guard the ball or not. Combine that with an outstanding combination, 58 points between Sprewell and Garnett. I think Flip Saunders feels he's got the recipe for a win.
Recipes, ingredients. Thank you, Wolfgang Puck. Season is on the line for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They would like to extend to a 7th game back in Minnesota, while the Lakers are hoping to wrap it and head back to the NBA Finals. The Airsville capacity crowd, that of the 19,000 here at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Let's check out tonight's McDonald's starting lineups. First, the visiting Minnesota Timberwolves. A backcourt of Derek Martin for the injured Sam Cassell. Trenton Hassel did an excellent job defensively the other night on Kobe Bryant. How about Latrell Sprewell turning it for the 4 of 18 in Game 4. Kevin Garnett had a sensational all-around game. And Michael Olowokandi, as we mentioned, in the starting lineup instead of Irvin Johnson. A look at the Lakers. Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant in the backcourt. Kobe not a factor in the second half in Game 5, following the 2 straight games of second-half exploits. Devin George up front with Karl Malone and Shaquille O'Neal, who was frustrated by the lack of touches the other night in Minneapolis. The officials, Dick Bavetta, Ken Mauer, and Ed F. Rush. Garnett and O'Neal will go on the opening tip. Controlled by Karl Malone. Now, usually it's a late arriving crowd here in Los Angeles. Not tonight. They're ready for this one. O'Neal gives it up. So everyone touching on the first possession. And here is Bryant over Olowokandi.
I would say Kobe Bryant wants to make sure everybody knows that he's come ready early in the game.
Eric Martin handling against Gary Payton. Sprewell, played by George. Garnett setting the screen. Shot clock down to 4. Here's Hassel. Olowokandi able to rescue.
I don't think that ball hit the rim. It looked like it fell short. A break here for Minnesota.
Phil Jackson walking along the sideline complaining as Latrell Sprewell is able to knock it down, and Phil Jackson appealing to the lead official, Dick Pavetta, about the fact that that may not have hit the rim.
I know it's early and it was the first defensive possession for LA, but you can see their body language already. They are going to be very aggressive. Travel that time by Shaquille O'Neal as he lost his balance because Olowokandi basically fell. Shaq stumbled.
Now, Doug, you mentioned right at the start that Shaquille O'Neal is upset because of the lashing out of the media as Derek Martin is able to score. So Minnesota has a 4-2 lead. The fact that Shaq has come in very angry, that can go two different ways. He can look to make up for it, look like Martin jammed a finger, or he could be over anxious and try to do too much.
Well, we talked to Phil Jackson to start the series. We asked him about going into Shaq, and he said we got to be careful not to force feed him. We did that early in the year in Minnesota. It worked against us. We have to do it in a way where everybody's involved, but yet he's getting the ball in this area and playing through him inside.
Malone. Garnett able to reach for that rebound. Garnett to the crossover. He's met by O'Neal. And then Garnett able to pick off George and is called for the foul. It was a moving screen. So Garnett with his first.
Well, a lot of times this is caused by the guard going too quickly. Latrell Sprewell starts his move before KG gets set. You do not want Kevin Garnett to pick up fouls on the offensive end of the floor like that, setting screens. You want him to be able to use it on the defensive end or on the backboards.
Once again, Bryant being played by Hassel with some help. It opens it up for Devin George. Devin George the other night hit his first 2 shots and then missed his last 7.
But you see that time, the next man over from Minnesota never came as the shot is blocked that time by Martin going to the basket. They never came on the rotation. They're going to let George shoot it until he makes a few.
And the outside official, Ken Maurer, calling a foul away from the ball. It's on Olowokandi.
Well, one of the things Olowokandi and the big men of Minnesota try to do is meet Shaquille at the free throw line to try not to let him get down so deep into the post. That time he was called for impeding his progress, and he picked up the foul. Remember, they have 24 fouls to use in that low post.
O'Neal trying to bank it. The other night, Olowokandi got himself in early foul trouble. Sprewell lost the dribble. It's recovered, though. Here is Garnett. Rebounded by George. Talking earlier with Flip Saunders, he said that he'd like to see the T-Wolves score in the area of 25 points. Here's Malone. What a changeup by Malone. It appeared he would attack the rim strong and then was able to go to a finesse move. Flip Saunders' thinking is that he does not want this crowd in the ball game. They can score early. They can keep the crowd out of it. Off the steal, here's Bryant with Martin back. And Bryant able to score and is fouled.
Here's a situation where if Martin felt threatened, then I would feel threatened if Kobe Bryant was coming at me one-on-one. Go up, take the foul early. Don't let him get to the front of the rim. Now the potential for a three-point play.
And similar to what took place in Minnesota Saturday night, Flip Saunders taking the early timeout. That's a 20-second timeout.
You know, Marv and Mike, we talked about hustle stats being so vital for Minnesota in Game 5. All the loose ball, the energy. To me, tonight, you look at these numbers. This is for the Lakers. Offensive rebounds, they had only 7 in Game 5. They had 18 in Game 4. Rebounds, they were plus 11 in Game 4, minus 2. Points off turnovers, they were minus 8. Free throws made, they went from plus 5 to minus 13. These are the areas that the Lakers need to dominate. That means they're dominating the painted area.
I think one thing we need to watch as this game goes on is the early energy we see now from the Lakers. Can they sustain it, and for how long in the game? Because if it holds true to form, Phil has played his main guys all 12 minutes of the first quarter and then on into the second quarter. So eventually, does the every other day schedule wear out the Lakers?
Kobe Bryant at the line looking to complete a three-point play. And does. Lakers 7, the Wolves 4. Here is some pressure on the point guard, Derek Martin.
And we see the backcourt screens right away to take that pressure off so he can rub his man off of that backcourt pick.
George giving Sprewell no room. Olowokandi looks to set the pick. Sprewell had to work hard for that shot, then rebounded by Martin. So they have the new clock. Garnett called for steps. The basket will not count.
That's the second turnover already now for Minnesota. They only had 2 in all of Game 5 in the second half. The Lakers put no pressure on them. They had no point guard. Actually, that's the 3rd turnover, so they already have more turnovers here to start the game than they did in the entire second half of Game 5. That's an area of the Lakers, when they win the battle of the turnovers, they don't lose in the playoffs.
Shot clock at 6. Bryant able to extend. Shaquille O'Neal missed on the follow. Garnett met by Bryant. Hassel, yes.
You know, you talked about the points. Flip thought they needed 25 or more at the end of the first quarter. When we spoke to him today, he said, I think we're going to have to score a lot of points to win this game today. I'd like to see us see the ball go in the basket early.
O'Neal getting position, and that's too easy for Shaquille O'Neal, able to set up down low on Michael Olowokandi.
The other thing that time, he kept his body between the defensive man and the basketball. He switched it to his left hand and finished off the layup.
Sprewell looking for the shot, and a foul is called. It is on Devin George.
Seeing an early diet of Sprewell and side pick and roll, something that the Timberwolves went to in the second half, quite successful last game with it. They come right out with it early in this game.
Well, that's Sam Cassell's strength. That's one of the things they're missing, is all the screen rolls with him. So now Sprewell is really their screen roll guy.
Czar's food on demand. We had ingredients, recipe, now diet is mentioned. Are you hungry?
I actually feel pretty good, to be honest.
And the foul is called, and a technical foul has been handed out. It is on Gary Payton. Ken Maurer was making the call on the Lakers.
This is Gary Payton, and the call was made because he feels Payton flipped him over his leg that time with the arm behind him. Payton trying to argue his case, and I don't think he's going to get a change on it.
Well, remember, the chippiness in Game 2 that we saw, I think, what was there, 7 technicals, an ejection, a flagrant foul, a flagrant 2 on Malone. So I think these referees know what's at stake here, and maybe they erred on the side of caution there, but they're not going to let this get out of hand here early in this game.
And apparently there was not a personal foul charged to Payton. Now Ken Maurer over at the scorer's table now is explaining it to Phil Jackson, but Payton argued, assuming he was called for the foul. He thought that the foul should have gone the other way, so it's no personal, but he's hit with a technical. And Minnesota still in possession. 5 minutes gone by. Lakers up 9-7. Sprewell. Good job by Devin George. He is making things very difficult here at the start for Latrell Sprewell.
Well, he forced him away from the screen there, so there was no screen rail. Forced him to the baseline, hoping Shaq was going to come over to help him.
Shot clock at 7. Here is Martin. And the ball back to the Lakers. Eric Martin grew up here in Los Angeles, played his college ball at UCLA. This is 3rd straight start. He's gone 1 for 6 from the field in the last 2 games. And Flip Saunders sat him down most of the second half the other night. Went with different combinations. Here is Payton. And the tip is missed by O'Neal.
Shaq's mad at himself for that one. He was right there up on top of the rim. All he had to do was drop it in. Instead, it rolled off.
Remember, now he's missed a slam dunk on an offensive rebound in that tip, so they could have been 4 points for Shaq.
Martin with a nice pass, and Olowokandi with the left hand. The game is tied at 9. Michael Olowokandi did not have a field goal in Game 5. O'Neal backing his way and is fouled by Olowokandi.
Shaquille O'Neal was not going to switch to his left hand that time. That was for emphasis right there. He wanted to throw that one down, get fouled, try and make it a 3-point play.
Second foul on Olowokandi. We're just under 6 minutes remaining in this first quarter, and the game is tied at 9. The 2004 Western Conference Finals here on TNT are being brought to you by Sky Sport, the new low-carb, ultra-premium malt beverage with the taste of citrus and cranberry. By Radio Shack, you've got questions, they've got answers. By American Express, the official card of High Flyers. And by NikeBasketball.com. And a beautiful 80-degree day here in Southern California. Game tied at 9, just under 6 remaining. And the first, let's check in with Craig Sager.
Derek Fisher will play tonight despite a sprained right knee. He suffered the injury in the final minute of Game 5. He had an MRI yesterday. Dr. Steve Lombardo says it will not heal until the offseason, but he does not feel by playing tonight he will cause any further damage. Cheryl?
Greg Latrell Sprewell said that if we have any desire to extend this series to a Game 7, we must simply consistently push the ball and not allow the Lakers to set up in their half-court offense. He said the more possession and more shot attempts, the better it is for us. If we allow them, the Lakers, to walk the ball up, throw it into Shaq without any pressure, or allow Kobe to roam free on pick and rolls, we will be in trouble. So far, guys, they're sticking to the game plan. All
right, thank you, Cheryl. Shaquille O'Neal, 5 of 11 at the line. The other night, as he hits 1 of 2 right here, he's now at 44% for the series. And remember, got off to that good start, 9 of 11 in game number 1. Fred Hoiberg and Mark Matson have checked in for the first time. And Minnesota with another turnover.
You see with the substitutions, Olowokandi goes out. As Madsen comes in, they want another offensive player. They bring in Hoiberg. This makes Garnett now bring the ball up the floor. Remember, he got very tired at the end of Game 4. Game 5. He had to be taken out for about 2.5 minutes in the fourth quarter.
So Mark Matson now will have a go at Shaquille O'Neal, getting help from Latrell Sprewell. Devin George taking that good pass from Karl Malone.
Shaquille O'Neal maybe not taking a field goal attempt, but becoming the facilitator of the Laker offense.
Garnett off the mark. The save by Shaq. And Payton pushes it down. Bryant fouled by Garnett, and that is his second.
That's why that offensive foul was so tough for him to get early in the game. Now he has 2. Now you're Flip Saunders. You look up, it's 5:08 to go in the first quarter. Do you rest him? If you do you dig yourself a hole that you can't get out of? You know, now the coach has to earn his money, or what are you going to do with KG, the MVP?
Personally, if you're asking me,
yeah.
I think at this point you've got to take him out and you buy some time right now. You see how the game goes for the next couple of minutes. You leave him in and he picks up his third, Doug. He's sitting for a long time before he gets back in.
Kevin Garnett, a guy who does not like to leave the floor. We talked about the fact that he tried to sneak back into the game in game number 4 and then was waved to the bench by the coaching staff. Well, here comes Irvin Johnson, and Kevin Garnett will take a seat. Wally Szczerbiak, who's been a major factor for the Timberwolves off the bench, now coming on for Trenton Hassel. Well, TNT and HD is now available. Catch all the drama of the NBA in high definition. TNT and HD, high definition, high drama.
And now we'll see the pressure by the Lakers, because this is what Doug talked about. Hoiberg bringing the ball up the floor. Payton goes right up after him. Instead, they give it to Madsen. Pitch it ahead. Let Madsen get it over.
Now what this does is now it gets the Minnesota offense out of sync. Now they're down to pick and roll. They really can't run an offensive set.
Hoiberg lost it. Here comes George. Recovered by Payton. Bryant for 3. Yes. Well, we're seeing the Lakers pressure the ball, which is something we do not see frequently.
Well, this is with Garnett being in foul trouble. This is where it really hurts you, because he can bring the ball up the floor. Now you are really struggling. Who is going to break this pressure?
In game number 5, Jackson thought they took too many rush three-pointers, a total of 22. He'll take this one.
Human life means nothing to these people.
There's an active cell in place.
I know about the subways.
Juliana Margulies, Dylan McDermott.
Our cell versus their cell.
Kobe Bryant for the quick start. for the Los Angeles Lakers. In games 3 and 4, he waited till the second half. Here, he comes out early to show that he's ready. Get a three-point play that way by scoring and going to the line, or after the steal by Devin George, you can sprint, give yourself numbers, and then get in the right place at the right time so Peyton can find you. Kobe spotting up for the downtown three-pointer.
Not a good start by the T-Wolves. They have more turnovers than field goals. 5 turnovers, 4 field goals, and again, pressure from the Lakers. Here is Sprewell. Latrell Sprewell, and that is his second bucket. He has 4 points. That stops the 8-0 run. Lakers lead by 6.
Well, he's going to have to be the guy to create the offense right now. With Garnett out, he's going to have to either get his shot or shots for the other people.
O'Neal looking to go glass. Johnson with the long outlet. Here's Hassel. He's able to shed. Bryant takes all the way. Back comes Bryant.
Those are shots. When you get 2-on-1 opportunities, you must make those layups. George with the 3.
And now Sprewell able to handle. Sprewell. A save by Peyton, and he stepped out of bounds. And Peyton has to be careful. He was hit with a technical earlier this first quarter.
Just to follow up on Mike, what he talked about with Flip Saunders, the tempo of this game. They want to get early shots at the basket. Flip told us today they're a mid-range shooting team. We might as well take them early in the clock and not let the Lakers get set.
Hassel. Nice move by Trenton Hassel.
And if it looks like Latrell Sprewell is kind of asserting himself more than we normally see, he is, because he realizes with Kevin Garnett on the bench, Kevin Garnett starts the offense, finishes the offense, gets other guys shots. Somebody's got to play that role.
And Dick Bavetta with a 3-second violation call.
Well, you have to be happy right now if you're Minnesota. You've weathered a couple surges here. You've been on the ropes a little bit, down 17-9. Flip takes a timeout. He gets a couple stops. They come down, get a couple scores. So hanging around is what he talked about doing, not letting the Lakers make them play from behind the entire night.
Even more importantly, hanging around with Kevin Garnett on the bench.
Whoa, look out. Serbiak went down and then threw it away. It's been an adventure for the Timberwolves to bring that ball across midcourt. Nice pass inside. Peyton for O'Neal. Shaquille O'Neal with the bucket, and he was fouled by Irvin Johnson.
I'm not sure if Shaq knew he was going to be able to make it to the rim that time, because he took off from farther out than he's normally used to doing. Then once he got airborne, he knew he had to get there somehow. There you see him trying to fly.
And that is the 4th assist for Gary Payton. Lakers 7 assists on their 7 field goals. 6 of their 7 field goals have been either layups or dunks. Kareem Rush has checked in, so he is the first Laker first guy to come off the bench. Usually Phil Jackson goes with Derek Fisher, but there is still a question because of that sprained right knee that was suffered late in the 4th quarter. And a blocking foul is called. Foul on George. That's his 2nd. Let's go to Craig.
Marv, you guys have been talking about the lack of touches by Shaquille O'Neal and how he's complaining after Game 5. The coaching staff broke down the tape yesterday. They showed him that he touched the ball 31 times, which they said was enough to be effective. However, if he would have been more active, he would have got the ball more. Already tonight, 9 touches, 7 of them in the paint.
And that's a pretty good ratio. I would think that Shaquille and Phil Jackson have to be pleased with that. Sprewell being guarded by Rush. Shot clock out of 2. Serbiak too late. 24-second violation.
7 turnovers, 10 of the Lakers, 19 points off turnovers here. Big hand ready now for Fisher as he starts to come into the game. The crowd loves him. What he's done the last 2 years against this Minnesota team, he has made every big hoop when they've needed it.
Let's watch for the defensive matchups now, because if Fisher's knee is bothering a lot, they may take him off the guy that's bringing the ball up the floor, so he doesn't put that pressure on his knee.
It's a 3-guard set now for the Lakers. Here is Rush from downtown. Kareem Rush, who back in Game 3 chipped a tooth in a collision with Latrell Sprewell. Played 11 minutes, game 4. Went for 10 minutes the other night in game 5 and hits the 3 to extend to a 22-13 lead. Shot clock down to 4. They're having difficulty locating a shot. Hoiberg has to fire it up. Rebounded by Rush. O'Neal not able to handle. Matson is on it.
This is the most pressure I've seen the Lakers apply in the entire playoffs. They are playing frenetically on the defensive end.
Add to that the difficulty that Minnesota's had in handling the basketball. Sprewell is fouled. He will go to the line.
Remember, when there's great pressure on Minnesota when they go to this other lineup, it's always Kevin Garnett that brings the ball down the floor. So you've got your 6'11", 7-foot point guard bringing it down to take pressure off everyone else. He's not there.
Now, Kobe and Mark Madsen, Kobe just sort of gave Madsen a shot to his leg, and Madsen took exception to it as they were standing beside each other on the free throw line. Now, remember, these guys were teammates here at one point in time, so you can see the nerves a little frayed here on both teams. Lakers do not want to go back for a game 7. Minnesota desperately wants to get back there.
Sprewell fouled by Rush.
Doug, you talked about the pressure. I know it was early on, but in the first series tonight, you could see Lakers down in their stances, and all of them down in their stances. That's a sign that you're ready to defend, that you've gotten the message that there's urgency here tonight. We have to win this game.
Lakers by 7, just under 2 minutes remaining in this first quarter. Marv Albert, Doug Collins, the Czar, Mike Fratello, Craig Sager, Cheryl Miller on the sideline. Good ball movement by the Lakers. And then away from the ball, a foul is called. It's on the T-Wolves. It is on Matson. That is his first. Minnesota in the penalty.
With Minnesota being so small right now, Madsen is their center, and he's about 6'7" or 6'8". So what the Minnesota Wolves are doing, they're trapping Shaq every time he gets the ball. The Lakers are keeping the floor nice and spaced. About 3 times the ball has gone inside to Shaq. He's read the defense. They've gotten it all the way to the weak side for open shots. So you don't always have to score in there, but if you throw the ball in there, it just collapses the entire defense.
Well, Shaq has opened up by hitting 2 of 4 at the line.
He's taken 6 field goal attempts in game 5. He took only 11 in the series. Since game 1, he's averaging only about 10.5 field goal attempts a game. He got 16 in game 1.
And he went 24 minutes without a field goal in game 5 on Saturday night. Here's Serbiak. He's had difficulty getting good looks. Fisher met by Hassel. O'Neal, beautiful pass thrown by Fisher.
That's kind of a little misdirection right there. Start to go one way, get the ball back. Well, all that's happening, Shaq's getting ready to get his position. Once they break the angle and have the right passing angle, then the entry pass is easy.
They double up on Sprewell. And a timeout is called. Sprewell had a call for time because he was in trouble.
Well, Flip has already had to use a 20 and 2 timeouts in this period, just try to keep his team in the game.
Lakers up 25-15, and we'll see this little misdirection play by the Laker offense. Ball starts out to the right-hand side of the floor, and after the pass, you'll watch the offensive man start to go around. It's like kind of a give and go. But in the meantime, over on this side of the floor, they call this their cluster. Watch Shaquille O'Neal. What's going to really happen is that the ball is going to come back over, and then the proper angle to enter it into Shaq, who's getting ready. It's just patience, timing, fake the outside handoff. There's the little cluster, the pop out, and the entry to Shaq, who has perfect position. He catches the defender on his back.
It'll be Minnesota ball as we resume. They'll have 10 on the shot clock. Latrell Sprewell being trapped along the sideline, forced to take another T-Wolf timeout. 46 seconds remaining in the first. Hoiberg will inbound. Here's Hassel. went glass because O'Neal was right there. Shot control. And Lakers have a 2-for-1 opportunity. Rush. That's another three for Kareem Rush.
And you can see Kobe saying, move the defense up the floor. We've got them on the run. Don't let them up now. Game 5, they were up 10 in the first quarter and led them back in the game, and it cost them.
3-second differential between the game clock and the shot clock, and a foul is called as contact was made on Sprewell. The Lakers are over the foul limit. That's the first on Bryant. So Sprewell will shoot 2.
As a coach, when you make that decision to go and double team because you have Garnett out and you're small and you want to get the ball out of Shaq's hands, the worst thing that can happen is that they start making their perimeter shots, their three-pointers. And the Lakers, with good spacing, are out here in the first quarter making three-pointers.
The other night, Latrell Sprewell with a stellar performance, 28 points, 11 of 21 from the field. He's been fired up, turning it from that 4 for 18 in game number 4. But 4 of the 5 games of this season, Sprewell has been superb.
When you look at the Laker lineup, because Minnesota has gone to a small lineup, so has the Lakers. So they have an extra shooter on the floor. They have both Fisher and Rush out there with Kobe, Shaq, and Payton. So this is their best perimeter shooting team.
Lakers can hold for a final shot of this first quarter. Down to 1. This is exactly the start that Flip Saunders did not want.
You had high energy by the Lakers. They're making shots, and your best player gets in foul trouble. Not the best way to come out of the gates.
After 1 here in Los Angeles, Lakers with a 28-17 lead on the Timberwolves. On this Memorial Day weekend, holiday traffic moving briskly as we welcome you back. Staples Center in Los Angeles. Lakers off to the good start. An 11-4 run over the last 3 minutes and 40 seconds for Los Angeles. Minnesota without a field goal over that time span.
Well, one of the things, normally the Lakers aren't known for their pressure defense, but you can see every possession they are up the floor. This is the keys we talked about tonight, the offensive rebounding, the big key turnovers, plus 9 points. Minnesota winning 3 of the 4, even in the other, as the Lakers had a big first period.
Kevin Garnett is back on the floor. You mentioned turnovers. They had 7 in all. They had only 6 all of last game. Foul is called on Kobe Bryant. That is his second.
And he's going to give him 3 free throw attempts. I guess he's behind the line on that side of the floor, so he'll be rewarded with 3. And that's their first 3-point attempt tonight. We can see here that his feet are back. He pulls that right foot back, gets it set, and now he'll shoot 3. Now, whether there's any indication, last game, game 5, 2 for 12 from the 3-point line, so they didn't take one in the entire first quarter.
Well, one of the things that Flip has talked about, this is not a 3-point shooting team. Unless they're coming down on the break and they can walk into their threes, they want to get mid-range shots. He said if we can keep it between 10 and 12, it helps us get to the free throw line. We get out of character, we shoot too many threes.
Big breakdown that time by Karl Malone. After the jump shot by Garnett, Malone took off and ran down the floor. That ball bounced right back to the foul line area. Malone never blocked out. The result, 3 free throws for Sprewell.
Minnesota opening the second quarter with Garnett, Manson, and Sprewell up front. Serbiak and Martin in the backcourt. So Derek Martin has returned. Serbiak putting some pressure on Rush. And Phil Jackson stays with the combination of Fisher and Rush in the backcourt. Now Medvedenko has come on for the first time. So Shaquille O'Neal sitting down. Fisher not able to hit. And now Sprewell will handle.
I'm sure Minnesota senses this is their opportunity to get right back in the game. Shaq is down. You're just bringing Garnett and Fred into the game.
Medvedenko able to succeed with that box out. Opening minute, second quarter. And the Lakers with an 8-point lead. Bryant. directing traffic as he moves it across. Looking for Garnett, is now being played by Medvedenko, and Garnett is fouled by Slava Medvedenko.
Well, Kevin Garnett would love to get himself involved. Now, after being in early foul trouble, Malone is playing Madsen. That puts Medvedenko on Garnett. He would like to take advantage of that matchup before he sees Karl Malone once again, who can really body him.
Kevin Garnett still looking for his first field goal. The other night, 46 minutes, 30 points, 19 rebounds for Garnett. He is now 0 for 4 for the field. He got it off on time, and then Garnett with the tip.
Second time, Malone stopped, Garnett did not. There's a tip in for Garnett. Malone never had his body on him.
The Laker lead is 6. They've led by as many as 11. Oh, nice look away. Medvedenko was wide open.
Kobe had to orchestrate that out of the double team. He saw Malone flash to the basketball. When he did, no one there to pick up Medvedenko underneath the basket.
You can really sense the drop-off in energy by the Lakers right now. This is not the same energy they came out with early on.
Yes, you get the idea they're just looking to buy time with O'Neal out of the game. But here comes Fred Hoiberg. Shaq over at the scorer's table. The foul is called on Fisher, and now Shaq being waved on.
Interesting substitution here, but Medvedenko comes out. Malone stays in the game, so I think Phil Jackson is saying, I do not want Garnett to get a few easy baskets with Malone sitting. He's struggling right now. Let's keep him that way.
Foul is called on Malone. That is his first. Karl Malone in foul trouble in Game 5 on Saturday night, but Phil Jackson stayed with him. Now they changed the foul. It is on Kobe Bryant. That's 3 on Kobe. He will take a seat.
On the cut, Kobe tries to come from behind. Right there across the right arm is where the foul takes place. So just like it was devastating for Minnesota in the beginning to lose Garnett, now you have the Lakers and Phil Jackson having to make a decision. Does he use Bryant anymore this half?
Bryant off to the hot start with 10 points, but sits down. Here's Serbiak, rebounded by Malone. So Bryant with 3. Garnett is playing with 2. Lakers have Fisher and Rush at the guards with Malone, O'Neal, and George up front. And that's number 3 on Olowokandi. A hacking foul on Michael Olowokandi.
They like to bring Shaquille O'Neal from away from the ball so that maybe they can pick up some fouls as he's coming to it. Right there, he just basically moves Olowokandi aside, and then he's going up strong. You're not going to deny him.
And the domination, Marv, that you and I talked about in the open. See the bodies flying. Sometimes it takes its toll. Remember at the end of the Game 4, Shaq and Malone had 30 rebounds. They owned the paint in that game. That's what they would like to be able to do tonight, soften up that defense.
Now Oliver Miller will come on for Michael Olowokandi. Miller was signed by the Timberwolves when Olowokandi went down with a second arthroscopic knee surgery required. Oliver's played sparingly in this series. Lakers 30, Wolves 22, 3 minutes in, second quarter. Garnett trying to get it to Serbiak, and a foul on Fisher.
What a great read from the offside on Fisher. It looked like Serbiak was going to have a layup, and Fisher came right in like a defensive back. Looked like he had the interception. More importantly, the Minnesota is going to be shooting free throws the rest of the way. I don't think that was a 2-shot foul. So already at the 9-minute mark, they're at the line.
Flip Saunders just went over to Jack Nicholson and told him, calm down. And Jack, as we mentioned the other day, sometimes gets confused and has called Flip Skippy and Chip. And he's complained in the past that Flip is blocking him. I guess you guys ran into that same situation. And Flip answered him, said last year one time when he was here in L.A., Jack said, you know, I can't see the game. You're standing in front of me. You're blocking me. And they got into a kind of a kidding around argument, and Flip told Jack, I didn't think your last movie was that good. Lakers lead by 6. Malone to the fadeaway.
That's that sweet spot he used to have in Utah. That little post action, takes that little step back, makes that jump shot.
Oliver Miller.
I think Shaq will give him that one all night.
Derek Fisher got himself to a point where he said, now where do I go from here? Stand next to Shaq. I've got to get out of here.
They double up on O'Neal. Nice play by Miller to strip O'Neal. Here's Hoiberg. Serbiak had to chase it. Serbiak, yes. That time he had a good look. Wally's had some difficulty locating shots.
When I spoke to Flip today, and Mike, we were talking to him, he said, I think Wally's going to have a great game tonight. Now, he had missed his first 2 shots, made 2 free throws, and hit the 3.
Kareem Rush turned it over. Garnett with that high dribble finds Serbiak. But Wally lost his grip. Evan George had a lot of time, now shoots the 3. O'Neal ends up with it. And a foul. Miscommunication between Miller and Garnett. Shaq will head to the line. I mentioned a moment ago, Flip Saunders and Jack Nicholson having some words along the sideline. Calm down, Jack. Czar tells me he has production value coming up. It's tonight's version of Bud Light's Idle Thoughts. Yes, from the mind of the Czar.
Well, I was thinking, looking ahead, the fact that our coverage stops at the end of the Western Conference Finals. So I wanted to leave an idle thought with the people that they could carry through into the NBA Finals.
Mullen.
Realize this. 4 NBA cities have hosted the All-Star game and then went on to win the NBA championship. Boston, St. Louis, Boston again in '64. The last time it happened, '72, with the Lakers. And this year it was kind of a combination Lakers, Clippers that hosted the NBA All-Star game.
You are really searching.
Well, see, this will carry on through the finals coverage. Everyone's sitting there saying, I wonder if the idle thoughts will happen again this year.
What did Mark Matson say to you in the lobby?
He said I was
earlier
a walking idle thought.
Exactly.
What's wrong with him?
That's what happens when you run into some guys from Stanford in the lobby.
Lakers with a 33-26 lead. Minnesota shooting only 8 of 26 from the field. Foul called on Malone.
Well, one of the reasons why Minnesota is hanging around, only 8 of 26, but they have 5 offensive rebounds, 9 points. They're 9-0 on second chance points tonight. More importantly, this is the 11th and 12th free throws of the game. They have not missed. They're 10 of 10, so they're cashing in on all their free throws. So they're staying close with offensive rebounding, second chance points, and the free throw line.
And the Lakers in the penalty very early. It's the 7:41 remaining in this first half.
And a veteran like Karl Malone needs to understand that you don't need to be out 35 feet from the basket putting a hand check on somebody to send it to the line for 2.
They're in the penalty over the limit. 9.5 to play. Gary Payton is back, so Payton and Fisher at the guards. O'Neal, George. Kobe Bryant sitting down after picking up a third foul. Shaq called for the offensive foul, and that is his first.
I'm not sure that that elbow actually came and got him anywhere. As the defender came to trap him, the second man coming over. Let's watch here. There's the elbow. And maybe I'd second guess if that was, I changed my thoughts if that was me getting hit with that in my jaw.
Yeah, tell Wally that he kept that elbow in.
I might change my opinion on that. Sorry, Wally.
The Laker lead is 5. Garnett. Yes.
Working himself back into the game. All started with an offensive rebound that he got. He had missed his first forward, jumped up, tipped that ball, and he's made his next 2, got to the free throw line 3 times, has worked himself back into the game.
You have to work that lather back up again. When players are ready to start the game, you see them, they're sweating hard, they're working hard. Then you go and sit down for 5 or 6 minutes, which actually winds up being 12 or 15. Big difference.
Gary Payton from downtown. Minnesota's been on a good run prior to that three-pointer, a 15-5 spurt. Lakers now lead at 36-30. Garnett with the screen. Garnett met by O'Neal, and a foul on Shaq.
Now you've got Kobe with 3, and Shaq now has committed 2 fouls here in the last minute. The offensive foul, now this one. You know, when we watched the Lakers start this game, they were expending a lot of energy. They were up the floor. That's not characteristic of their team. Minnesota has weathered it. They're hanging around, and I think they feel pretty good about where they are right now.
Remember, Shaq fouled out in game number 5. A reminder, tomorrow night on ESPN, it's the Pacers and the Pistons in game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Pistons in front now 3-2. Coverage starting 8 o'clock Eastern time last night. Richard Hamilton with a playoff career high 33 points in that Detroit win at Indiana.
Boy, it's been fun to watch Rip play. I had an opportunity, obviously, to coach him in Washington for a year. His game has really grown. He should be very proud of the way he's playing. He was terrific last night.
We talked about the energy the Lakers have expanded so far. In the 3 wins, they have 16, 19, and 21 personal fouls. Already here in the first half of the game, with a lot of time left, they have 12.
That will count, and the foul. Beautiful entry pass thrown by Fisher, so O'Neal back at the line.
You have to get him the ball at the right time. Otherwise, it's going to be a 3-second ball. When he gets in that blue paint, you have to deliver it on time. He has to catch and finish, and he does that.
Oliver Miller picks up his 2nd foul. How about the Lakers? 14 assists on their 14 field goals. But Shaq continues to struggle at the line. He's now 3 of 10. Sprewell. Garnett with the good hands to keep that alive. Now Sprewell being played by Payton. And the foul. That'll put Sprewell back at the free throw stripe.
This is very smart by Minnesota. The Lakers are independent. You're going to be shooting free throws. Every time somebody puts their hands on you, don't shoot jump shots. Drive that ball to the basket.
The 2004 Western Conference Finals here on TNT are being brought to you by Verizon Wireless. Sign up for America's Choice Family Share Plan. Verizon Wireless, they never stop working for you. And by McDonald's. They're loving it. Just under 6 minutes remaining in this first half. Lakers now lead by 7. Let's take a listen in on the Minnesota Timberwolves huddle. This was earlier this second quarter.
Our shooters then, but we got to keep the pace, but we're not in a panic situation thinking we got to shoot it every time. You know, sometimes make the extra pass. We got them in a scramble. We can be aggressive as far as I am. But give Kevin a chance to get as far as to the block. Draw and kicks.
And you can see what happened when they came out of that timeout. They went right into the post to Kevin Garnett, got him the ball on the block. And Flip Saunders was talking about, look, we want to look for our early offense if it's there, but we're in the penalty, keep driving the ball. We don't have to quick shoot it, make the extra pass. We have them scrambling on defense. And what they've also done, they've gotten to the line, no turnovers this period. So 7 in the first with 13 points for the Lakers, none in this period. They've worked themselves back into the game. Remember now, Kobe's got 3 fouls. He's been sitting for a long time.
Sprewell now 8 of 8 at the line. Minnesota 14 of 15 at the free throw line. Lakers 6 of 13 due to the fact that Shaq is 3 of 10.
With 3 personal fouls, does Kobe Bryant have to sit the remainder of this quarter?
I would say as long as they stay in the lead, yes. I would say that he would keep him over there since they have a cushion.
For the crowd, they wanted Shaq to take it right at Oliver Miller. Here is Karl Malone. And Dick Bavetta with the call, a loose ball foul. And apparently a double foul now being indicated. Looks like Oliver Miller and Devin George have been assessed the fouls. Now Devin George thought that he was the one who was fouled. He couldn't believe that he was also being charged. And you hear the reaction from this crowd. Lakers have been called for 10 fouls in the second quarter. Minnesota for 4. 5.5 to go in the first half. Serbiak and Miller called for the illegal screen as he ran Rick Fox, who had just checked in. So Oliver Miller with foul number 4.
We've already heard Matson be called the designated screener. Well, there you see Miller. He's the guy that just kind of headhunts defensive guys. Go screen him, set back fix on him, try to open up shots for your teammates.
Rick Fox played only 5 minutes in game 5. O'Neal on the lob from Payton.
Now Shaq orchestrated that whole play. He was pointing to the corner, throw it to the corner. He was going to roll with a lock and lob there. You got to know that's coming when that ball goes to the corner.
And apparently that last call just a moment ago was not a double foul. They changed it. It was only Devin George called for the foul. So Miller has 3, not 4, though the indication was given of a double foul. They made a change. Garnett fires with the shot clock running down. And now a loose ball foul. It has been a foul festival here in the second quarter. And that is number 4 on Miller. So 4 in 4 minutes of play for Oliver Miller.
Look at Shaq pointing to his teammate. Throw the ball to the corner because I've got it worked out with Payton that I'm going to spin. He's going to throw it to the front of the rim. I'm going to catch and finish.
Well, Oliver Miller's been in the league long enough to know that when that ball goes to the corner, you can't let Shaq roll off of you like that. That's a set play. He's either going to roll out or he's going to go screen on the ball.
4.5 remaining in this first half. Minnesota now has 4 team fouls. Lakers have been over the limit for almost this entire second quarter. Payton, nice move. Larry Payton has played well. 5 points, 6 assists for Payton.
Laker runs have been a concern for Flip Saunders in this series. Game, as you see Martin go to the line, but as in game 5, it was a 17-0 run by Minnesota. Other than that, Lakers had won all the end of quarters, and they had runs in the second half that had changed the whole pace of the game. And
Doug, that was with the small lineup being utilized by the T-Wolves. It began late second quarter, continued early third, and that was the key the other night. So here's Derek Martin at the line. Minnesota spending much time at the foul line. They're now 15 of 16. Martin, an excellent free throw shooter. Here's Kareem Rush back, replacing Derek Fisher. Phil Jackson forced to go to his bench. Seemed to be reluctant the other night.
You see them going to the line and making free throws. 26 out of 32 in the last game. 32 was the highest for them in the entire series that they had attempted. Meanwhile, the Lakers were just 13 for 24 in game number 5. So this is definitely a situation where you can win or lose a game at the free throw line when these 2 teams face off.
Lakers in possession. They lead by 7. They've had to go without Kobe Bryant for a good portion of the second quarter after he picked up a 3rd foul. Serbiak with the rebound. Martin met by Fox and resets. Derek Martin is actually the backup to the backup at point guard. He's in there because Troy Hudson has been sitting out after undergoing knee surgery. Serbiak for 3. Wally Serbiak from downtown, and the Wolves are within 4.
Well, Rick Fox is in there to try to bang him around, to use his physical approach, but when Wally's on the move and he creates space, Fox cannot handle him.
T-Wolves with their first 3-point attempt. Coming up on 3 minutes to play in the half. Malone, it counts, and the foul.
When you lose a Kobe Bryant, you lose a guy that's a penetrator, a guy who can create shots. Here you see the penetration by Rush. He sees the blue jerseys come over, and then it's a matter of looking to the low block area. Malone catches, finishes, and now to the line for a potential 3-point play.
Foul was called on Derek Martin. Fred Hoiberg is back. Flip Saunders telling us earlier, he talked with Hoiberg about the possibility of starting the game. He said, no, I'm much more comfortable coming off the bench. He would rather not be the primary point guard. By his own admission, he said he came out of college unable to dribble and chew gum at the same time.
Self-deprecating humor.
Sprewell lost it, recovered by Johnson. Irvin Johnson is back on, replacing Oliver Miller. Shot clock down to 3. Garnett. Oh, what a move by Kevin Garnett.
He gets such great extension on his jump shot. And, you know, Mike, when he came into the league, his shot was so flat. And he worked very hard on getting trajectory with Kevin McHale. They worked every day, because McHale used to have a flat shot as well.
Lakers now lead by 4. Serbiak over to help on O'Neal. Fox gets it right back down low. And the foul charged to Irvin Johnson.
They might have to go to Gary Trent here to use a few fouls as well. We haven't seen. They might have 5 guys to give 30 fouls tonight, but this is a foul fest.
This is a matter of Kevin Garnett realizing that he's got a much smaller player on him. He's going to get the ball in a spot where he's comfortable. Then you see him square up, elevate, and there's a little bit of arc that you talk about, not the flat line rope we used to shoot.
As usual, star-studded crowd here at Staples. Sidney Poitier at courtside, as is Jennifer Love Hewitt, Phil Mickelson, Denzel, who has been a regular, and Jack, who has been very involved here tonight. He's been all charged up.
He looked at the czar, though, because we looked over when he had that little thing with Flipper. We sort of teed him up, and he said, no, I'm under control. He said, I'm not going to get tossed tonight.
You calmed him down.
Czar looked at him and just, there's Flip. They're talking to him now over there.
And what's sad is that Jack is telling Flip to calm down. Let's go to Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Marv, the ball definitely is going to Shaq tonight and in a position to be effective. The running count so far, he has 20 touches, 16 of them in the paint. Remember, he complained in Game 5 about having just 31 touches, but of the touches so far tonight, he already has 16 in the paint, one more than the entire Game 5 total.
All right, thanks, Craig. And Shaquille is now 4 of 12 at the line. Lakers 45 and the Timberwolves 40.
Yeah, but there are things that Minnesota's doing to offset that. They're plus 10 in second chance points. They've outright rebounded Los Angeles 22 to 15. So those 15 points they've given up on turnovers hasn't hurt them quite as much, you would think.
Serbiak is fouled by O'Neal. And that is number 3, so 3 apiece on O'Neal and Bryant.
Shaq's got to stay away from this one. With Kobe having 3, he can't pick up this foul. And that's a tired foul there. That's one when you reach in, when you're not moving your feet. This is almost 2 points you're giving Wally. Instead of giving him the layup where he gets 2, now you probably give him 2 points and you get the foul. Now your 2 stars both have 3 fouls.
And there is the foul rundown. The Lakers, as you saw, with 3 apiece on O'Neal and Bryant. Fisher has 3. Garnett with 2.
Minnesota's taking 20 free throws, 19 of 20.
Well, don't you worry that Shaq might just get called in this situation where he barrels over the top of the guy and they call him for an offensive foul because he's got 3 already.
He's got to keep his arms down right now, not get him away from the body. 1:58 to go here. This is a very important 2 minutes for both teams.
Foul on Johnson. That is his 3rd. So both teams in the penalty, and we're looking at a 4 of 12. As I mentioned earlier, in game number 1, Shaq went 9 of 11, but it has gone the other way since then, including an 8 for 22 in game 3.
When I talked to Flip today, he told me, he said, if we can be within 5 with 2 minutes to go, he said the difference in the game, we think we can win because of the free throw shooting. But that's close.
Well, he was telling us that when they go to hack a Shaq, they feel that it is as if you are causing a Laker turnover.
You got to come up with that loose ball. They got him to miss 2, and then to give it right back to him with the offensive rebound.
Rush with the step. Offensive foul. It is a charging foul on Kareem Rush.
They're going to call the right arm or right elbow area of Rush coming out, protecting the ball as he shoots it. See if you can watch the right arm as he takes off, right arm, right there, holding off the defensive man.
Not popular, but correct.
Sprewell Rebounded by Malone.
I might get Garnett out of the game here, too, the last minute. You do not want him to get his third. That would be deadly for Minnesota.
Garnett picked up 2 earlier, then sat. Here is Rush. That's a three-pointer for Kareem Rush. That's his third from downtown.
Besides making a couple big shots, he's played excellent individual defense thus far. Getting his hand in, causing a couple deflections.
Sprewell.
Well, that's 4.
Yes, a blocking foul on Shaq, who stepped out on Sprewell.
With this little time left in the first half, him with 3 fouls, Shaquille O'Neal should be on the bench. That's my opinion.
Well, Shaq, you know, he's late getting out on that screen roll. That's 2 fouls he's picked up now. A reach-in foul on Wally Zerbiak going to the basket, and now a foul here. And you know what Sprewell's going to do. He's going to keep that ball alive with the dribble, and he's going to create the contact. That's a smart thing to do. Mark Price used to be the master of that. When you would get in the penalty, he would drive and get contact and fall down. He was a 90% free throw shooter. It was giving him 2 points.
Well, that will be a questioned move, no matter what the end result here tonight. And Phil Jackson left Shaquille O'Neal on the floor here in the final minute of the first half, despite the fact that he had 3 fouls on him.
Well, Phil always prides himself on that his star players know how to play with fouls. But Shaq made 2 tired plays there at the end of the half that could be extremely costly as we go into the 4th period. You see the 2 stars both on the bench with fouls.
The Laker lead is 4. And a 20-second timeout taken by Los Angeles. And Phil Jackson trailing the official Ken Mauer, staring at him. This has been an angry crowd. The Lakers going over the limit very early in the second quarter. Minnesota has 16 points this quarter alone on free throws.
What happens, you come out with so much energy as a team, you play off the crowd, and then when the fouls start to mount up, we saw it happen early to Minnesota with Garnett. Okay, their main guy goes to the bench with quick early fouls, 2 quick ones, but then suddenly they mounted up on Los Angeles. It's taken all the steam out of the Lakers.
Lakers called for 14 personal fouls in this second quarter. The Timberwolves with 9. Coming up on the Verizon Wireless halftime report, Ernie, Kenny, Charles, and Magic taking a look back at this first half.
Now Shaq has 4. Kobe's coming back into the game with 3 with under a minute and the lead. He has got to stay away from a foul.
I would think that Phil Jackson, very trusting of Kobe Bryant, who fires one. Rebounded by Garnett.
Now you got to go back and play defense. You want him in there for offense, but he's got to go back and play defense now.
There's Hoiberg, who went right at him, and Kobe let him go. Hoiberg was looking for contact.
And smart. Go reach in there, you know, you don't know what's going to happen. The worst thing you do if Hoiberg gets an offensive foul, you'll live with that.
So Minnesota within 2. They've trailed by as many as 13. Tate and Fox with his first attempt. That was a 3-pointer. Now to 10 seconds left in the half. Now to 5. It's in the hands of Garnett. Sprewell with 1 second. But Flip Saunders and the Timberwolves have to be delighted with what took place in the second quarter. You can hear and see the reaction from this crowd at Staples.
Kevin Garnett told Minnesota at the end of game number 2 when they won to even the series, we're 1 road win away from accomplishing what we want to get done here. They need this one, obviously, to go back home and get it.
Lakers with a 2-point lead after leading by as many as 13. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, Kareem Rush, 9 points off the bench, but the big story is the foul trouble your team is in. What is your reaction to 4 fouls on Shaq and the 3 on Kobe?
It's unfortunate, but it's up to guys like me and, you know, the bench to step up for them. You know, officiating, sometimes it's going to happen, but we got to keep playing through it.
How did that affect the momentum of this game? You guys had a 13-point lead and cruising.
Those guys are main catalysts. You know, with Shaq and Kobe out of the game, our offense tends to get stagnant. And those guys are the one who shoots the ball for us. And, you know, in the end, you know, we got to play through that and just keep playing our game.
All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Mark.
Kareem Rush, second-year man out of Missouri, big-time scorer in his college days. High Point men, Latrell Sprewell with 15-11 have come from the line. Garnett, 10 points, 9 rebounds. Shaq, 14 points, and Kobe with 10. We'll be right back.
It's game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, and it's a tight one, boys and girls. 48-46 is the Laker lead over the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Lakers lead, but foul trouble could plague them here in the second half. Shaquille O'Neal, very energetic to start things off, but as the half wears on, Shaq picking up his 4th foul in the first half. Welcome to the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report. Ernie Johnson, Hall of Famer, and Laker VP Magic Johnson, Kenny the Jet Smith, and Charles Barkley. So wow, did this game turn around in a hurry when the Lakers had the crowd going, Magic. They had a double-digit lead, and suddenly Kobe's got 3 and Shaq has 4.
Well, you know, the whole game changed around because I think at the 9-minute mark until halftime, Minnesota was shooting free throws. And if you take away the free throws, this would probably be a Laker lead by about 15 to 16, 18 points. So they're going to have to be very, very careful in the second half because with Shaq having 4 and Kobe having 3, and not only Kobe, but Derek Fisher, there's a couple other guys in foul trouble, it could hurt the Lakers. And see, we have to see now how aggressive can the Lakers be in the second half.
This place obviously has been resounding with boos late in the half. What did you think of the officiating in the first half?
Let me tell you something. A couple of calls could have went either way, but Kobe and Shaq have to be smarter. They can't put themselves in that situation, especially not to get 4. But they shouldn't even get 3. They should have to sometimes you have to let a guy score, but you can't put, those are just stupid fouls.
Well, one of the things that you saw early was the over-aggression in the first quarter defensively. The Lakers came out with a tenacity that we had not seen. But then all of a sudden, the Timberwolves said, we're going to attack the basket. And that's when they got the Lakers in foul trouble. Zerbiak, Horford, guys that normally are jump shooters and perimeter spot shooters started to take things to the basket off the dribble along with Sprewell. To me, that was the biggest difference. We're not settling for the jump shot if you're Minnesota.
Kobe Bryant had 10 points, got off to a good start for the Lakers, but he also picked up 3 fouls in the first half. But what'd you see from the Lakers coming out of the gate, man?
Well, I really like what the Lakers were doing early on because superstars must win big games, and both of their superstars played extremely well. Kobe came out aggressive, got the crowd going, got his teammates involved, and then Shaq inside was just a beast inside. He really set the tone and the tempo for this game, and I thought the Lakers, with that aggressive defense, got themselves into it, also got the crowd into it. Now, 21 for 22 for Minnesota. That's why they're in this game from the free throw line. But I tell you what, if the Lakers come out with the same attitude, they can win this game.
You talk about Latrell Sprewell also with 15 points to lead Minnesota, 11 out of 11 from the free throw line. Meantime, Kevin Garnett, I mean, this was not a good omen for Minnesota when he picks up 2 early fouls, and then he has to sit down.
Yeah, but he was smart. He didn't pick up the next one. But I tell you, one thing that's going to hurt them in the second half, Derek Martin and Harburg, unless they switch into their home jerseys tonight, they're going to have to play better because Kevin is free, and Wiley can only carry him so far. They got to get one more guy who can score.
Well, Chuck, the one thing that you did see, and if you were happy, like I said, if you flip Saunders, is that the aggression to the basket. Mark Madsen, offensive rebounds, tip-ins. This is aggressive basketball because they had trouble scoring against the Lakers. If they could get secondary shots, secondary opportunities, then they can beat the Lakers.
Well, we got to remember this. Shaq can stay out of foul trouble because he's really not going against an offensive player. It's Kobe the one you have to really worry about because the only thing Shaq got to worry about more is offensive fouls.
Should Shaq have been in the game with 3 fouls late in the half?
Yeah, because I trust him to be smarter than that. I think if you look at Shaq and say, man, why you foul him? He would have said that was my fault.
And plus he trusts the referees to maybe not call a call on a superstar
at that
time because it's a 50-50 call. And Latrell Sprewell didn't lose an advantage when he did bump into Shaq. The play could have went on, so normally referees give everyone that benefit of the doubt.
Shaquille O'Neal has 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 fouls, just 4 out of 14 from the free throw line. Latrell Sprewell 15, Kevin Garnett 10, and it is a 2-point game at the break in Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Another X factor in this game so far has been Kareem Rush. 3 from beyond the arc, matching his total for the series.
The halftime report from the Western Conference Finals is brought to you by Verizon Wireless, the official wireless provider of the NBA.
Can you hear me now? Good.
Welcome back to the Verizon Wireless halftime report. In the Eastern Conference Final, Rip Hamilton just tearing it up. Last night he had 33 points. You see his average increasing with each series here in the postseason. And now the Pistons a win away from knocking out the Indiana Pacers. They'll try to do it tomorrow night.
Every time we got in a situation where we can actually go to the next round, we always play well. But it's the games that when we're up 2-0 or we're up 2-1 and you can get some distance, that's the games that are scary. But the games that we want to put away, I think that we all ready, we all prepare ourselves to go out and do what we got to do to come out and try to get a win.
Hey, after the Pacers lost 83-65 last night, Anthony Johnson of Indiana taking a page out of Charles' book. He said Dr. Naismith rolling over in his grave over the effort that the Pacers put forth against the Detroit Pistons. The third quarter is coming up here as the Lakers have a 2-point lead over the Timberwolves.
Most of my people dead. They're still alive, Ernie.
In Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals, Hollywood players were interested in Shaquille O'Neal taking a leading role in the Laker offense. The Timberwolves also have a script they have been shopping around. Theirs stars an underdog hero who overcomes huge obstacles to beat the odds. In 24 minutes, Minnesota could be facing elimination or welcoming the Lakers back to Minneapolis for Game 7.
And this has been an angry crowd here at Staples in Los Angeles. Lakers have a 2-point lead as we head to the second half, and that anger directed toward the foul calls that have been made against the Lakers. As we welcome you back, Marv Albert, Doug Collins, the czar, Mike Fratello. Let's take a look at our Gatorade X Factor of the game.
Well, without question, the X factor tonight is the personal fouls called on both teams, because early on we saw Kevin Garnett go to the bench with 2 quick ones. He had to sit the remainder of the first quarter, but most notably the Lakers. Shaquille O'Neal with 4, Kobe Bryant with 3.
Now 29 points for Minnesota in the second quarter. 16 of the points have come on free throws, 13 on field goals. Doug, how is your checklist shaping up?
Well, the Lakers got off to a great start. They got out and pressured the ball. They forced 7 turnovers in the first period for 13 points. Since then, it's been all Minnesota. The points off turnovers still the Lakers. Offensive rebounds go to the Lakers, to Minnesota. Actually, have outscored them 11-1 on second chance points, plus 7 total rebounds, and the free throw line. The key was at the 9+ minute mark of that second period, they started shooting free throws. Latrell Sprewell 11 for 11 from the line.
On a look at tonight's Dodge game summary. Shooting percentages. Lakers at 49 on 18 of 37. Minnesota, as we mentioned, not doing it from the field, just 12 for 34, 35%, but doing it at the free throw line, and you see points in the paint for the Lakers. Let's check in with Craig Sager. Craig?
Well, Marv, during the halftime talk, no talk about the officiating by Phil Jackson, the coaching staff, to his players. He says, forget about what's going on, about the fact they made so many free throws. You guys have to rise above it. The big statistic, second chance points, Timberwolves 11, Lakers 1. As for Shaq being out there with the 3 fouls, the comment was, those are the chances that Phil Jackson sometimes takes. And Phil said to Shaq, you have to move your feet. Cheryl?
Craig Cotondo says that he feels very fortunate that his team is only down by 2 points, considering that KG was in foul trouble in the first quarter. He said the second half we really have to concentrate on making his shots. I asked him about his running dialogue with Jack Nicholson. He said, look, I told Jack he needs to relax. I'm not going to give him any CPR.
And it appears it was Flip who was trying to relax Jack Nicholson. So the third quarter is underway. Here's Derek Martin, and Martin is able to knock it down to tie the game at 48.
See if we see the same type of aggressive Laker team that came out to start the game, or two very tentative superstars for the Lakers, watching very cautiously that they don't commit another foul.
Here is Malone. And Minnesota with a chance to take the lead for the first time since early on. Garnett over Malone. Phil Jackson has Gary Payton. Kobe Bryant at the guard. Shaquille O'Neal, Karl Malone, and Devin George up front. Bryant got off to the good start and then had to take a seat after getting in foul trouble. Malone, Garnett on the rebound.
Malone trying to get the foul too much, didn't concentrate on making the shot.
And Hassel able to swing his way in on Bryant, who did not want to risk contact.
It's a smart play. From Kobe's standpoint, you cannot get a foul on that play. And from Shaq's standpoint, you have to be very careful now when you wheel in there of picking up an offensive foul.
Minnesota with a 2-point lead, trying to take this series back to the Twin Cities for a game number 7. Nice look from Malone. Shaquille O'Neal has tied it at 50. And a big positive for the Lakers, 19 field goals, and on all 19 they have assisted. 2 minutes gone by in the third. Sprewell with the fake on George. Yes.
I really like what Minnesota's doing tonight. They've taken 2 3-point field goal attempts. So instead of shooting the threes, pump faking, getting into the mid-range area, that's more their game.
Good job by Hassel. He cut off Bryant, and then it was called for the block as Kobe went baseline.
Closing out on shooters is one thing. Flying past shooters is another thing. As you approach a potential jump shooter, the idea is you got to break yourself down your momentum, get on that shooting hand, and when he goes up, challenge it without fouling. The Lakers have been running by him. Ball fakes lead to open shots from Minnesota right now.
Here is Bryant. Rebounded by Sprewell. Had it knocked away. Good play by Devin George. Bryant with the step. And rejected by Garnett.
Again, after 7 turnovers in the first quarter, that's only the second by Minnesota since that point in time. The other one was when Oliver Miller moved on a screen. So turnovers are starting to take care of the basketball.
O'Neal getting position on Oliver Candy. Here's George with a wide open shot.
And again, no rotation. Sprewell left him, went down a double team. Nobody came over to George. They're going to force him to make shots.
Devin George just 1 for 5 from the field. Game 5, he hit his first 2, then missed his last 7. Has not shot well in this series. Sprewell. The tip by Hassel. And this represents the biggest lead of the game for Minnesota.
This is a deflated Laker team right now. There is no energy. Minnesota's the ones that are playing like it's their home court right now instead of the Lakers.
Oliver Candy forcing O'Neal further out, but Shaq able to go glass. T-Wolves 54, Lakers 52.
Remember now, Minnesota tied for the best road record in the NBA with Indiana, 27-14. This is a team very capable of winning on the road. They've won some big games, especially coming down the stretch to give them the best record in the Western Conference.
And they won on the road in the Denver series and in the series against Sacramento. Minnesota without Sam Cassell once again with a sore back and the sore hip. Here is Sprewell for 3. Comes to Garnett. Kevin Garnett in the right spot. Minnesota leads 56-52.
Give credit to Hassel that time because he made the hustle play. He's the guy that ran behind Karl Malone and knocked the ball free, and then they resulted with a second shot opportunity.
Now what's up with the Lakers' defensive rebound?
Bryant off the spin. Malone able to chase it down. Nice pass. Malone to O'Neal.
You're giving him 2 easy baskets, a dunk, a little screen roll action, that time a layup. Those just feed into Shaq having a monster game.
Malone able to knock it aside. So the Timberwolves will have 14 on the shot clock. We saw a moment ago Sam Cassell cheerleading on the Timberwolves bench. We asked Flip Saunders if there is a game 7, would Sam be able to play? He said only if he's 90% back defensively. Here's Sprewell. Shot clock out of 4. And the call on Garnett. That is number 3.
Now, of his 3 fouls, 2 of them are offensive fouls or of the loose ball variety here. Kevin should have just let this ball go out of bounds. The shot clock is winding down. It was at 3. The little shove, the little move there by Karl Malone said, you know what, you've been blowing the whistle all night. Give us this call. Now, that's 3 on Garnett.
Lakers in possession, now trailing by 2. They've led by as many as 13 points. Payton with room. And the follow by George.
Somebody's got to make something happen here for Los Angeles. They've got to generate their own energy, get the crowd back in the game for them. They have to come with that same sense of purpose that they did initially. That's tough to do when you've got guys playing scared because of fouls.
Martin for 3, way off, and carries out of bounds.
You know, when I talked to, and all of us talked to Flip today, one of the things he said to me, he said, you know, we feel like our Game 1 loss was a scheduling loss, that we had to jump right into a series. He said, we felt like if we had had a little time to prepare, we would have won both of those home games. So now they've got to make up for that Game 1 loss by getting this win tonight to get it back home, to get the home court.
Certainly he's telling that to his players.
Correct.
They're going to feel better about it because they had come off that dramatic 7th game win over the Sacramento Kings, had 1 day of rest, and then had to play. Bryant off the double pump. Here comes Garnett. Hassel. They surround Garnett. Martin keeps it alive. Here's Martin. There's Martin. Has now been able to do it at the offensive end, and the T-Wolves lead by 2.
Doug, isn't that why you made that checklist? It showed hustle points, effort points, things like that wind up winning big games for you.
You bet. Anytime you can get an extra opportunity in a score like that, especially if it's Derek Martin.
Bryant. Oh, what a move. He had a hang and then pump and then was able to bank it home.
I think you see Minnesota trying to keep the pace of the game up. They do not want to get into a half-court game where the Lakers can lock into them. Keep it in an open floor game.
Foul on Payton. That is his 2nd.
Kobe Bryant, one of the rare athletes that has the ability to create and make most difficult shots. Most guys would have been down on the floor by that time. He's able to go up, almost come down, still have enough strength to get it up on the glass.
It's game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. T-Wolves trying to take it back to Minneapolis. Lakers hoping to wrap it here tonight. It's all being brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Over 2,800 non-stop daily flights to 60 destinations all across the country. And by IBM. Reminder, tomorrow night on ESPN, it's the Pacers and the Pistons. Game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Pistons up in that series, 3-2. Coverage starting 8 o'clock Eastern time. And then Thursday night, if need be, game 7 of that series at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Pacers taking game 4 at Detroit. Pistons came right back at Conseco Fieldhouse last night, led by Rip Hamilton. 5.5 to play in this 3rd quarter. The game tied at 58. Garnett, yes. Good look by Kevin Garnett.
You know the number that jumps out at the stat sheet right now? The Lakers are being out-rebounded by 13 rebounds. Last time we were in here, Game 4, they were up 21 on the boards after 3. Malone and Shaq had out-rebounded the whole Minnesota team after third quarter.
Bryant, the shot clock down to 4. And the open opportunity. Payton comes up short. That hit the rim. Apparently it did graze it. Here's Payton from the other side. And O'Neal able to get to it. Payton rejected by Garnett.
Well, Payton really looking to get involved there. 3 shots on that possession. Then a bad play by Derek Martin forcing the action. But Payton 0 for 3 on that possession.
And this isn't an accident. Right now, George is 2 for 6. Payton's 2 for 9. And you're watching them, you're saying, you know what, they're wide open. There's a reason for that. Minnesota's not rotating to them. They want them to take the shots until they make enough to make them make an adjustment.
O'Neal. Kid O'Neal with the driving hook to tie the game at 60.
And he's got 22 and he's missed 10 free throws. He could very easily be upwards of almost 30 points already. We still have almost a quarter and a half to go.
Sprewell coming off the screen. Latrell Sprewell with another strong game. He now has 19. He's done most of his damage at the foul line.
Well, he started the last 3 games of Sacramento. He was brilliant, and he's carried that through to this series.
Sprewell on the steal. Chased by George. Latrell Sprewell taking the distance to give the T-Wolves a 4-point lead.
You cannot throw lazy passes back to the top of the circle because defenders like Sprewell that are aggressive will shoot the gap, and that's what happens.
Coming up on 3.5 remaining. In the third, they double up on O'Neal. Here's George. Offensive foul.
And what you talked about there, Mike, he did not want to shoot the basketball. Devin George, he ran away from the open shot and ran into trouble and a foul. Lack of confidence. Right now they can really double Shaq, and they're going to force Payton and Devin George. See him run away from the shot, and he pushes off on Kevin Garnett. And you're Phil Jackson, you got to be getting a little concerned here now. Foul trouble, Minnesota gaining confidence. This is an interesting situation with the Lakers.
Evan George picks up number 4. Derek Fisher has checked back in. Timberwolves up by 4. Fisher all over Martin. Sprewell eluding Bryant, and that was knocked away.
The block that time from behind had a dangerous move by Kobe Bryant, but a good block from behind.
Payton now the back over Fisher. Bryant moves up front. Garnett is on Fisher. Bryant with the spin. Shot clock to 5. Fisher for 3. Alone with the rebound. Good play by Oliver Candy. He changed that shot.
Malone does not have the lift that he once did, so he tries many times to just get the 2 free throws rather than convert the shot.
That's a backcourt violation. Martin tried to prevent the ball from crossing to the midcourt line.
Now the one guy in this series who's really been shooting the ball well is Derek Fisher. Remember, he's got a sore knee. We don't know what he's going to have tonight when they need him.
Another strong performance by that man, Latrell Sprewell, leading the way for the T-Wolves with 21 points.
Well, he had 28 points in game number 5, and right now at this point, 11 for 11 from the free throw line, but defensively, he also is finding ways to score. The steal, then full court by himself, come off that little curl action to the elbow, he hits the 15-foot jump shot. Another terrific outing by Latrell Sprewell.
Let's check in with Cheryl Miller. Cheryl?
Thanks a lot, Marv. Well, Latrell Sprewell told me before the game that since game 2 that he's really tried to come out with the mentality that Sam Cassell won't be able to play. He said injuries are a part of the playoffs. He said we just simply have to fight through it. It was interesting at halftime. He said Sam Cassell with Derek Fisher making the big 3 right there. He said Sam Cassell said, look, we have to keep fighting. Eventually the Lakers will break down. Just continue to do what we do. He said the pressure is squarely on the Lakers, guys.
All right, Cheryl, with 2:15 remaining now in this third quarter, it's a 1-point Minnesota lead. Garnett had it knocked away. And last touch by the Lakers.
Remember back in the last game, Garnett made an adjustment to how he was being played. He caught it, he made one quick move and elevated his shot over the top rather than double fakes in each direction.
T-Wolves have 5 on the shot clock. Fred Hoiberg is checking back in. He'll replace Derek Martin.
Derek Martin did a nice job for them in that period. You know, after a sluggish start, he had some big shots when they needed them.
Garnett has to fire. Oh, scores! Kevin Garnett over Karl Malone. It's a 2-pointer. He had a foot on the line. With the shot clock running down, Garnett drills it to give Minnesota a 3-point lead. Here is Bryant. He was stripped. Recovered by Fisher. Rebounded by O'Neal, and he is fouled. It is on Oliver Candy.
Well, both officials checked with each other across the floor on the shot by Kevin Garnett to try and decide, was it a 2 or was it a 3? You can see right there his foot is clearly over the line, and that's where he takes off from. So a good call by the officials, a good job of checking with each other to make sure they got it right.
Now, as this game starts to wind down, we start talking about the Hack-a-Shack. We look at the free throw line. He's missed 10 tonight. He's 4 of 14. So if the Minnesota has fouls to give in that fourth quarter, we could see them start coming early to put the pressure on him. It's important he steps up and starts making these free throws.
And these are the first free throws for either team in this third quarter, coming off the foul fest in the first half, particularly in the second quarter.
Well, when you get in the penalty at the 9-minute mark, that puts so much pressure on your defense, and Minnesota really took advantage of that.
Minnesota now with 14 fouls. Los Angeles with just 1. T-Wolves up by 2. Minute and a half remaining on the third. Garnett with a crossover. Hassel with a rainbow. And slapped out of bounds by O'Neal.
They had a nice back pick that time on Kobe Bryant. Hassel wide open, just couldn't hit the jump shot. But the back picks away from the ball make it so difficult for the defense to cheat and help too much.
Minnesota has the new shot clock. Sprewell spinning. Here comes Payton. It's a 4-on-3. Fisher. Rebounded by Sprewell. And that is called a leg block kickball.
Madsen actually had outrun Shaq down the floor by a good 10 yards, but Sprewell, being pressured a little bit, didn't want to take a chance until he could pick up the dribble and clear the pass.
You get Shaq out here the last minute 4. He's got 4, maybe rest him, get him a little bit of a break going in, not letting him pick up his 5th here going into the period.
O'Neal picked up number 4 late in the first half. Kevin Garnett, who has come on a slow start, early foul trouble, picked up the early 2, and has come on strong. 18 points, 13 rebounds for Garnett.
Well, if you're going to sit Shaq, what you said, Doug, this is the time now you can buy this last minute of the game clock and then also the time in between quarters, so you can get a nice little 3-4 minute blow, perhaps.
O'Neal eluding Madsen and a foul. Mark Madsen looking around. He thought he had him wrapped up, but play continued, so the basket counts. And O'Neal to the line.
You think that Shaq is going to have the ball taken away right there, and instead he just holds on to it. Madsen's looking for it. It's not there.
You know, when that play happened, I thought Madsen had taken the ball away and was standing out of bounds, and Shaq was still holding it.
And apparently the basket is waved off. It will not count. And Shaq will shoot 2. Madsen was waiting for the official call. And Shaquille is just having an awful time at the line. 5 of 17 at the foul line.
You know, his free throw shooting really has never cost them a big playoff game. They've always been able to play through a lot of misses. Tonight, they're going to be put to the challenge.
Half minute remaining in this third quarter. Sprewell off balance. O'Neal with the rebound. He's looking for the outlet. No one breaking. Kobe Bryant very quiet after the 10-point first quarter. Since then, just 1 of 7 from the field.
Mark, Sprewell got hurt on that last play. When he just took that jump shot, he was off balance. He took off awkwardly. He limped coming back down the floor.
They try to surround Bryant. Here's Payton. Payton with the follow with 0.6 of a second remaining in the quarter. After 3, Minnesota 68, Los Angeles 67. The T-Wolves hoping to take it back to Minneapolis for Game 7 on Wednesday night. Lakers want to wrap it right here and advance to the NBA Finals. Welcome back to Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. Capacity crowd, that of the 19,000 on hand, and we have certainly heard them throughout the night. In the first half, not happy with the officiating, and now looking to urge the Lakers on. They'd like to see the Lakers make it to a 4th NBA final over the last 5 years. Flip Saunders and his T-Wolves going through their best regular season in the 15-year history of the franchise. 58-24, top seed of the Western Conference. And then in the playoffs, they beat Denver in 5, beat Sacramento in 7. Before this postseason run, the Timberwolves have been knocked out in the first round for 7 straight years. They had never won a playoff series.
Well, I like Kareem Rush being in the game. He was actually their best perimeter player other than Kobe in the first half. He has not been hesitating to shoot the ball.
Rush has hit 3 from downtown. The foul is called as Madsen took a shot, and he's shaken up.
Automatically, Shaq turns in, and there's going to be contact because of his size. Madsen gets down very low on him. His base is low, and as Shaq turns in, there you see his head move to the side, and that's the size of Shaquille O'Neal. You're going to belly up to him? That's what's going to happen.
You have to be willing to take punishment. I mean, he's going to wheel in there. It's a big, powerful guy. And Shaquille O'Neal once again going to the line, and you know, Marvin, can come down to Minnesota every time. Their big men cannot let Shaq lay the ball in the basket. They have to use every foul that they have to give here. No layups or dunks.
Well, we're now looking at it 6 of 19 at the line. Game is tied at 68. Opening minute, 4th quarter. Marv Albert, Lazar, Mike Fratello, Doug Collins, Craig Sager, and Terrell Miller. Serbiak, and he's hit on a reach-in.
We take a look at Mark Madsen's nose. He has got a red nose out there right now. Looks like it wants to trickle a little blood out of there, but he took a shot from Shaq. But we know he'll keep coming back.
Foul was called on Karl Malone. Garnett able to recapture. Shot clock down to 4. Good job by Malone. Rush hit from behind. Foul on Serbiak.
I think that Garnett puts more pressure on Karl Malone when he's coming at him at the top than when he's down there in the post where Malone really can get his body. He makes him work and spin 2 or 3 directions to get that fading jump shot, and he has no passing lanes.
Malone tried to go back door, but it was broken up. Good hands by Hassel.
Each time we've seen him attack Malone from the top, he gets Karl back on his heels, so he's got a way off balance from this area out here.
Right here, this is where I think he causes more problems.
Well, Garnett was feeling for Malone. The old pull the chair by Karl Malone has stepped away as Garnett was seeking the contact, and it's a traveling violation.
I think it was a combination of Karl Malone pulling away a little bit, Garnett getting a little bit tangled up as he tried to get his footing from under. He wants to pull back in reverse right there. Malone backs off, he loses his balance, and there he goes down.
13th turnover committed by Minnesota, and Garnett has turned it over 6 times.
4 in the first period. Remember, he's had an offensive foul, actually 2 of them, so.
Game tied at 68. O'Neal played by Madsen. Here is Bryant. Good job by Hassel. Rush for 3. That's his 4th from downtown.
Doug, you had called it. You said he's the guy in the first half that made shots, and you could tell he has not been hesitating to pull the trigger on it.
Well, he puts all kinds of pressure now, because if you're going to double Kobe or Shaq, he and Fisher are both on the floor. They're their best 2 perimeter shooters.
Welcome back. The Lakers regain the lead, 71-68. They start the offense by taking the ball, throwing it into the low post area to Shaquille O'Neal. Then after that, Kareem Rush is going to go over and set a screen and bring Kobe Bryant around. They start the offense by going into the hole through Shaquille O'Neal. As Rush sets the screen, right here at this point, his defender is Wally Szczerbiak. Rush was 3 for 3 in the first half. He spaces back out. You got another good shooter over in the opposite corner. The idea now is Szczerbiak must get back to his man. He hangs a little bit too long thinking about Kobe Bryant. He cannot close out on Rush. Fisher's the next pass in the corner in case Rush doesn't like it, but a huge basket by Kareem Rush.
Kareem Rush 4 of 4 from beyond that three-point line. He has 12 points. That's his playoff career high. Fan of defense from the crowd as Hoiberg shoots. Rebounded by Matson. Sprewell passed on the three. Sprewell, yes. It's a one-point game. Lakers 71, the T-Wolves 70.
Another loose ball hustle play by Minnesota to give them a second chance. They're shooting under 42% and still find a way to stay in this game.
O'Neal drawing the double. Here is Bryant. Malone from Bryant. And obviously Kobe's game has changed because of the foul trouble. He is very fearful of contact.
That time they start the ball on one side of the floor, the Lakers. They reverse it just to get the ball in the hole to Shaq.
Sprewell had a knock free. Malone with Fisher. Hoiberg back. Malone taps it to Fisher. He wanted to check and see who was in bounds.
Trying to throw an alley-oop to Karl Malone. I'm not sure that's what he wanted on the break.
That 2-on-1 did not work. And here is Bryant. Kobe very quiet in the second half. It's only a second field goal in the second half. Lakers with a 5-point advantage.
And this crowd got all excited when Kareem Rush hit that three. They really got into the game.
Here's Garnett. And the foul on O'Neal. For Shaq, it is number 5.
Now, what does Phil Jackson do? Almost 9 minutes to go here. Shaq has 5. Looks like he's a little fatigued. It's a big play here as Garnett goes to the basket, gets the bump. Little energizer there for Minnesota. It looked like the Lakers were trying to push a lead there. They pushed it to 5. This would cut it to a one-possession game and a 2-point game if he knocks it down. He misses the free throw.
When you ask the question, what do you do? Right now, Phil Jackson made his decision, and now at least he's leaving Shaquille O'Neal in the game. There's no one going up towards the table to report.
He can't get any defensive fouls. He's got to stay away from any kind of defensive foul.
But this is a major gamble as Bryant fires one up.
He got away with throw down on Madsen there, too. Got to be very careful if you're Shaq. Not get frustrated by Madsen now.
8.5 remaining in the fourth. Garnett fouled. He was pushed by Malone.
Karl Malone tries to get that body into him, gets that forearm on him, and then he hopes that his strength is enough to deter Garnett from turning the corner. Garnett does a good job of keeping the dribble alive right there rather than quit on it. He keeps trying to turn the corner, lowers that shoulder, he picks up the foul.
And now Slava Medvedenko will check in, replacing Shaquille O'Neal.
That's a smart substitution because Shaq almost got his 6th on Madsen here on the offensive boards. They both went up, bodies flew out of there, and no foul call. I think Phil Jackson saw it. He says, I better get him out of there.
Well, in particular, coming off a 4th foul picked up late in the first half. Here is Szczerbiak firing. Fisher pushes it down. Fisher accelerates, sets it up for Medvedenko. Beautiful play by Derek Fisher.
Oftentimes, Fisher makes that play and winds up trying to take the shot himself. That time, great decision, giving it up.
77-72 Lakers. They trap Sprewell. Able to get it to Garnett. And another foul on Malone and a technical foul. Karl Malone upset about that call. Technical foul on Karl Malone.
Wait a minute. There's some confusion here. The officials may have called a second technical foul on Kobe Bryant.
Apparently, they will sort it out over at the official scorers table, but a second technical was called, and it appears that it was on Kobe Bryant.
Kobe can't believe it. He's coming over to... He's just outraged and he can't believe the call was made.
And the foul on Malone is number 4.
And Marv, this is how Minnesota got back into the game in the second period, getting to the free throw line.
Lakers now lead 77-74. The next foul on the Lakers puts them over the limit. That's number 4 on Garnett. It has been a wild one here at Staples. 4 apiece on Garnett and Olowokandi. Miller also with 4. For the Lakers, 5 on Shaq, 4 on George and Malone. Bryant with 3.
Going screen roll now. They're going to try to get Malone rolling out or Kobe going to the basket.
Beautiful move by Bryant. Lakers now lead 79-74. Hoiberg gets the pick, does not have the shot. Malone gambled and went down. Serviat for 3. It took a Laker hop.
Well, that was a big shot. That would have made it 2. And, you know, Marv, just to follow up on that sequence of technical fouls, that's 4 straight games now that Kobe Bryant has picked up a technical foul in this series.
And that is most unusual for Kobe Bryant. Timeout called by the Lakers. 5-point Los Angeles lead, 7:03 remaining in the 4th. Back in Los Angeles, the 2004 Western Conference Finals on TNT have been brought to you by Coors Light. Unleash the Rocky Mountain cold taste of Coors Light. By Hyundai, when your car comes with America's best warranty, you win. Hyundai. By Universal Pictures, The Chronicles of Riddick, in theaters June 11th. And by the new Sprite Remix, Very Clear. So it has come down to the last 7 minutes of this 4th quarter. Continuing our celebrity watch, Glenn Fry is here. Leonardo DiCaprio. Music mogul Jimmy Jam. Actors Ed Norton and Andy Garcia. Lakers 79, T-Wolves 74. It is Laker ball as we resume.
Marv, how about turnovers? 15 for Minnesota, 29 Laker points. And that is the difference in the game. The pressure and the turnovers have killed Minnesota.
Here is Rush again, having a career night. 5 for 5 from downtown, and the Lakers lead 82-74. Go to Cheryl Miller. Cheryl?
Thanks a lot, Marv. We're out of that last timeout. Flipson is very upset with his team. He said defensively, look, guys, Shaq's not in the game. Who do you think the Lakers are going to go to? He's not happy with that last 3-pointer by Kareem Rush, but he said offensively, let's continue to push the ball, be aggressive. Sam Cassell screaming at the top of his lungs, guys, you've got to believe.
Well, Kareem Rush has been an unlikely hero. Martin just lost it. Medvedenko took it out of his hands. Lakers have Fisher and Rush in the backcourt. Bryant is up front with Medvedenko and Malone. Backdoor pass for Rush. Sprewell. Rebounded by Fisher.
You know, Kareem Rush, to me, he shades of what Brian Shaw did to Portland in here in the Lakers' first first championship. They were down in Game 7, Western Conference Finals against Portland by 13 or 14 in the fourth quarter. He had 5 threes to change that game. Tonight is Kareem Rush.
Offensive foul. It is on Malone, so that is number 5 on Karl Malone.
Karl Malone getting tangled up with Garnett. Now watch his arms. Continue to watch the arms here. As Malone starts to go out there, he takes the arm of Garnett, wipes it off him. It's a bad foul to pick up.
5 apiece on Malone and O'Neal. Just under 6 minutes remaining on the fourth. Sprewell. Strong move by Latrell Sprewell, who has 25 points.
You don't have Shaquille O'Neal. You have Karl Malone with 5 fouls. Who's going to protect the front of the rim?
Nobody, and they've gone to small ball. Minnesota, they've got their shooters on, and Garnett's playing center, and here comes Shaq, so Phil must have heard you.
6-point Laker lead. They double up on Bryant. Medvedenko from Malone.
That was not an easy shot, by the way, that Medvedenko just made, but thinking ahead one step. When Shaquille comes in, and now I see Madsen at the table, I was just going to say, who does Shaq wind up playing with this group on the floor? But the answer will be Madsen.
Garnett. And a foul against Minnesota as Malone took the shot.
I think what we're going to see here in the last 5 minutes too is I think we're going to see the hack of Shaq off the ball. They're down 8 right now. Shaq is struggling from the line. We see the rebound by Karl Malone and the foul. Let's keep our eye now. They've got Madsen in the game. Will he start fouling Shaq off the ball as soon as they get into the penalty?
Foul on Serbiak with Shaq on the bench. Lakers still managed to outscore the T-Wolves 9-4 thanks to Kareem Rush. Fisher trying to get the step. Sprewell setting up against Bryant. Sprewell. And here comes Fisher with 4.5 remaining. In this fourth quarter, 8-point Laker lead. Rush. Bryant for 3. Garnett able to haul it down. T-Wolves have had their chances. Sprewell with a nice pass. Madsen, yes, and the foul. It's on Medvedenko.
Remember what Flip said today? He said if we're within 5 late in the game, I think we have a great chance to win the game because of the foul shooting. Great pass and a terrific finish by Madsen. Not a good free throw shooter, but giving Minnesota some life here. That the free throw line might be the difference as we close out this game.
Yes, Madsen only 48% from the line during the regular season. Making his first appearance at the line tonight. And gets a very friendly roll.
Small things that coaches talk about, like not giving up layups in games. Right there, Madsen should not have been allowed to get his arms up and shoot the ball. Instead of him going to the line for 2, bad shooter, he makes a 3-point play out of it.
84-79 Lakers. Medvedenko being challenged to shoot and scores. Garnett stepped away and said, take the shot.
How about you look at the stats? Rush and Medvedenko, 9 for 10 shooting tonight.
Medvedenko 3 of 3 from the field in this fourth quarter. And the T-Wolves give it right back.
The last game, Doug, those same 2 guys, Rush and Medvedenko, 2 for 6 combined from the floor.
Lakers with a 7-point lead. 3:35 remaining in the fourth. Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Lakers home to Rapid and head back to the NBA Finals. T-Wolves trying to take it back home. Kareem Rush again from downtown. He is 6 of 6 from 3-point land. And a 20-second timeout called by Minnesota. Kareem Rush in his second season out of Missouri, a first-round draft pick of Toronto last year, then traded to the Lakers on draft day, and he is having the biggest day of his professional career.
Doug, wasn't it just a couple games ago that you said the lefty who's made the biggest shots for the Lakers is Derek Fisher? They got a new guy getting ready to take his place soon.
Well, you know what? This all happened during the regular season. Phil Jackson played him a lot in the fourth quarters this year, trying to build the confidence for moments like this when they were going to need his shooting. Peyton could not make a shot. George could not make a shot. So he went and substituted. He put Fisher in the game, and he put Kareem Rush, and it has totally changed the outcome with his shooting.
Kareem is pulling a Steve Kerr here tonight.
I'll tell you, this is shades also, too, of Brian Shaw in that Portland in the Western Conference Finals. He hit 5 critical threes when the Lakers were way down in the fourth quarter of that game, and they came back to win, went on to win the championship.
And the Lakers, despite the fact that Shaquille O'Neal had to sit for a while in this fourth quarter, have outscored the T-Wolves 22-11. Fisher took it away from Harburg.
I'm shocked they haven't fouled off the ball. I'm shocked they haven't started fouling Shaq.
There it goes right now. They're doing it right now. There it is. There's the hacky Shaq away from the ball.
Now will Phil take him out of the game. Remember last time we were here, he took him out until under the 2-minute mark, so this couldn't happen.
And at the time, Phil Jackson said, you know, we don't need Shaq there. You see it on the floor to practice his free throws.
What you've got, look, you've got a 10-point lead right now. And you take a look at how many fouls are left for Minnesota, the big guys. They've got some fouls to give here. And here comes Karl Malone in for Shaq, so that can't happen. But this is the fouls they have left. Actually 9 if they want to use it with the big guys. Probably Shaq will be out until under the 2-minute mark because they have a 10-point lead in the ball.
3:06 remaining in the fourth. Lakers using the clock. Now Bryant. Rebounded by Medvedenko, who has come up with big plays.
When you go small, Mike, it's tough to get a rebound.
And Dick Pavelli blowing the whistle. Apparently a timeout has been called with 2:49 remaining in this fourth quarter. Foul was called on Trenton Hassel. Lakers up by 10.
Lakers up 89-79, 2:49 remaining, and it's been this guy, Kareem Rush, a 35% three-point shooter during the regular season, 3 for 10 coming into tonight in this series, and now 6 for 6 from behind the three-point line for Kareem Rush. He has 18 points. He is the guy responsible for putting the Lakers ahead.
And Kareem Rush has played through a sprained foot, a chipped tooth. The chipped tooth injury suffered in Game 3 as he got involved in a collision with Latrell Sprewell, and having a sensational ball game. He's done it down the stretch. He's done it when the Lakers have needed it, in particular with Derek Fisher not 100%. Derek, a question mark because of a knee injury tonight.
Well, when you look back at the game, the way it started, Mark, 7 turnovers in the first period. You see Kobe at the line for 13 points for the Lakers. Only 1 turnover in the second quarter. Now when you look at the stat sheet, Minnesota's turned it over 17 times for 32 points. They're minus 22 points off turnovers. And after shooting 22 free throws in the first half, only 5 in the second, Medvedenko leaves with a big hand, 4 of 4 from the floor, 8 points and a couple big rebounds.
And despite all the foul difficulty, Lakers have pulled away to a 90-79 lead. Shaquille O'Neal with 5, Karl Malone with 5. Kobe Bryant has played with 3 most of the way, as Kevin Garnett is able to score 90-81. 2.5 to play in this fourth quarter.
And it's too early to stop playing defense right now for the Lakers. They've got to dig in and get some stops here.
There go that patented screen and roll. Malone slips it. That's Stockton to Malone there on the slip.
That's a hard foul. Latrell Sprewell reaching in. Looked like Malone lost his balance.
And the officials just talking over quickly to see if this is a flagrant foul. But Malone is going one way as the defender comes by. I think it's just a process of his body going one way, the defender the other. He was hit hard, but I don't think it was a flagrant foul.
You can hear the reaction from the crowd as they see the replay up above. They wanted the flagrant call.
Well, what did you think this crowd was going to agree with the call here this evening?
So the Lakers now lead at 91-81.
Well, Karl Malone witnessed the ring ceremony of his daughter the other day for the Detroit Shock. She won a championship last year. He's about 2 minutes and 21 seconds for being back into the finals for the third time. Went twice with Utah. He and John Stockton, Jerry Sloan, and Michael Jordan broke their hearts twice.
Karl Malone able to hang around despite the 5 fouls. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. Again, an impressive stat line from Malone. Sprewell rebounded by Malone.
Now you're getting to the point where with 2 minutes coming up, can Shaquille O'Neal re-enter the game once again, not worry about them fouling away?
Well, you might not want him to right now. You go with your small lineup, Minnesota small, and just let him watch the rest of the game.
They're on their feet here for the Lakers. Bryant twisting his way, looking for the shot, and he draws the foul. So Bryant will go to the line. That's 5 on Garnett. You know, you look back at this Lakers season, 56-26. They won the Pacific Division, edging Sacramento on the very last day of the season. Beat the Rockets in 5. Lost the first 2 to San Antonio, then win 4 in a row. But there's probably no other valid comparison in terms of turmoil and drama in the history of the NBA. It starts with the signing of the 2 Hall of Famers, Karl Malone, Gary Payton, at that greatly reduced rate. The sexual assault charges against Kobe Bryant, leading to a number of pre-trial hearings. Off the turnover, Lakers take it back, and as it turns out, strong performances by Kobe when he's gone from Colorado, the basketball court, and the lashing out earlier in the season between Shaq and Kobe. Phil Jackson's contract situation, all is now on hold. Up and down season. At one point, they lost 9 straight on the road.
9 straight on the road, which tied a franchise record. But, you know, we talked about Shaq needing to be the dominant man tonight. 25 points, 11 rebounds, only 7 of 20 from the free throw line, but he did set a tone in the paint.
Fisher not able to hit. It's picked off by Bryant. So here are the Lakers, despite the tumultuous season, headed to the NBA Finals for the 4th time in 5 years, on their way to knocking off the top seed in the West, the Minnesota Timberwolves. Standing ovation for the Lakers, who also will have some time to rest. Bryant. That was a 3-point attempt, and that would have raised the roof here at Staples. Sprewell for 3. Lakers now lead 93-84.
The Lakers need to shoot the ball one more time, a 6-second differential.
For the Minnesota Timberwolves, it has been a terrific season. They've been without Sam Cassell the last 3 games here in the postseason, but they set a franchise record, 58 wins. In the playoffs, knocked off Denver in 5, beat Sacramento in that dramatic 7-game series. Kevin Garnett, the most valuable player. And they will be eliminated here in LA by the Lakers.
You know, I really thought that Kevin Garnett took a huge step this year, not only being the MVP, but in critical games, the knock has always been on him. He can't come up with a big game scoring-wise or whatever. I saw Game 7, 32 points. He banked that on purpose. That's an old Michael Jordan where he used to close his eyes. He banked that on purpose.
I don't know if the T-Wolves would appreciate that, but Lakers now lead 94-83.
I don't know. I'm not really worried about next year. But I know if I was a general manager, it would be a certain way. But I'm not the general manager, and I don't get the last say-so, so I have no idea what the team's going to be next year, but I don't worry about next year. I can't think about next year.
If you were the general manager, what would the team be?
I don't believe in ifs.
Okay.
And this world doesn't run on ifs. But if it's a dynasty and it's going so good, then why would you want to break it up? And why would you even talk about breaking it up?
And a look at the Laker free agent situation at the end of this season. Here is Garnett. Hoiberg down to 20 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter.
Now, if Detroit advances, Lakers have the home court. If it's Indiana, it's Indiana. So this could be a lot of rest for the Lakers and possible home court if Detroit wins tomorrow night at home against Indiana.
There's the free agent we talked about a moment ago. Bryant, it's his option whether he wants to stay or leave. Same with Karl Malone. Decision, major decision, obviously, what the organization will do with Kobe Bryant.
Kevin Garnett is fouled out, 22 points, 17 rebounds. He was in the early foul trouble, picked up quick 2. Been a magnificent season, though, for Kevin Garnett, most valuable player. Did it in all phases of the game. Lakers have outscored the T-Wolves 27-17 in this fourth quarter.
And just to follow up on Kevin Garnett, I mean, his ability, he took over some huge games in the playoffs. As Marv, I said before, I thought he took a huge step this year in carrying his team in big games, and what a magnificent performance for him and the T-Wolves this season. A great year.
There's Serbiak, down to 13 seconds to go. So for the Lakers now, the magic number will be 4. 4 more wins, and Phil Jackson will have a record 10 NBA coaching titles to break Red Auerbach's record. And 4 more wins would mean a first championship for Karl Malone and Gary Payton. That's why they're here. Lakers will face the winner between Indiana and Detroit. And you mentioned they will have some time off.
Well, you look at Phil's record, amazing. You know, 9 championships, possibly with 10 if they can go on. He asked Karl Malone in that last little scene, do you want to come out? And Malone was smiling. Well-deserved here. This is the glue, the catalyst of their team. When he was injured, they really faltered. And he really kept this team together tonight, 10-10, the good defense. But when all was sort of spinning around, this guy brought a lot of wisdom. Shaq called him a big brother. Kobe called him like a dad.
All right, here's Hassel for 3. We're down to 2 seconds. And the Los Angeles Lakers have defeated the Minnesota Timberwolves in 6. They are moving on to the NBA Finals to take on the winner of Indiana and Detroit. The story tonight, when you consider the foul trouble, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Karl Malone, Kareem Rush, 6 for 6 from downtown, a playoff career high, 18 points. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, Kareem Rush ready to put on his conference championship hat. With the injuries to Derek Fisher and Devin George, the coaching staff tell you have to be ready to step up tonight?
No, not at all. They told me to go out there and play my game and be aggressive. And when the shots were there to take them, and luckily for tonight, they were falling for me.
You have not got a lot of playing time in the playoffs. During practice, the guys on the bench have to play 3-on-3 games. You shine in practice. Your teammates have confidence. What did that do for you? What did your teammates tell you?
Just go out there and have fun. I mean, don't feel any pressure. Go out there and you just play your game. And tonight I did that, and it worked well for me.
The man of the hour, the hat fits well.
Thank you.
All right, Kareem Rush in his second season out of Missouri, 6 of 7 overall, 18 points. We'll take a break right here. When we come back, the trophy presentation to the Lakers.
And we welcome you back to Staples Center here on TNT, where tonight the Los Angeles Lakers have advanced once again to the Western Conference, or to the NBA Finals, by winning the Western Conference. And here to present the hardware, we have the senior Vice President of Basketball Operations for the NBA, Stu Jackson, and the Lakers General Manager, Mitch Kupchak.
Thank you, Ernie. First, congratulations to the Minnesota Timberwolves for a great season. But it's the Lakers that once again are heading to the finals. Congratulations to the Los Angeles Lakers, the 2004 Western Conference champions.
General Manager Mitch Kupchak, put this one into words as you return to the NBA Finals.
Well, Ernie, I'd like to congratulate the Minnesota Timberwolves, the best record in the West. certainly if not for an injury or two, it might have been a little different story. On behalf of the Buss family, the city of Los Angeles, the organization Los Angeles Lakers, we'd like to accept this trophy. The one we really want, though, is the gold one in about 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mitch. Kobe Bryant, they say that closing out a series is the toughest thing. This was tough for a number of reasons tonight, the foul trouble and the fight that Minnesota gave you. Characterize your victory here in Game 6.
No, it was a hard-fought win, and we had a lot of character. And our bench stepped up and played huge, man. I think everybody needs to give a round of applause to Kareem Rush because he shot the hell out of the ball.
How would you characterize this team as you head to the finals? You've been there before with other teams, but how would you characterize this one?
Kobe. It's been a long season. We fought hard through the ups and downs, and we find ourselves back to where we want to be, and that's having a chance to win a 4th title. And now we just have to go get it.
They will face either the Indiana Pacers or the Detroit Pistons. Is there any kind of a preference, or is it strictly a home court thing?
Don't matter. Bring it on.
The Lakers advancing to the NBA Finals again. Let's go back to Marv. Marv.
All right, thanks, Ernie. And the decibel level tonight was about as high as we have heard it here at Staples. I thought it was pretty deafening during the San Antonio Lakers series, but of course they were upset about the officiating of the first half, and that got people going.
Well, also, too, Marv, they were a little nervous. Minnesota was up 1 at the end of the 3rd quarter, and it wasn't for the electric shooting of Kareem Rush and Medvedenko off the bench, they would have been in serious trouble tonight and maybe have been looking at a Game 7.
All right, Czar, looking ahead to the NBA Finals. Detroit and Indiana still have to settle their series, so the Lakers will have several days of rest. The NBA Finals will not begin until Sunday, June the 6th.
Well, as you can tell in this series, this is a very fragile Laker team. These days off in between, when they have to play with only 1 day's rest, I think it was Shaq's numbers that on 1 day's rest, he averaged 16.3 points per game.